What's going on, everyone? Matt McEwen from Action Network dropping in with my parlay of the day for the heavyweight battle between the Alabama Crimson Tide and the Auburn Tigers. Before I get to this bet, I want to quickly preview the matchup that we're looking at here between the number 1 and number 2 team in college basketball. Now, today will be the first time since 2008 that number 1 and number 2 have met in the regular season. The last time that happened, Memphis and Tennessee played. Auburn head coach Bruce Pearl was a part of that matchup. His Vols actually won that game as the number 2 team, quickly took over as the number 1. Now, this is the first time ever in SEC basketball history that the number 1 and number 2 team will meet on the same day. So, a lot of history, big-time matchup. Now, between these two teams, there is not a lot of love. We know in football, the Iron Bowl exists between these two teams, but even in basketball, this rivalry dates back to 1924. Alabama has had the upper hand in this series, leading at 102-68. So, a lot of history between these two teams. And as I said, not a lot of love. But let's dive into this bet and see what we're looking at. We're going to start this with leg 1 with the Auburn Tigers on the money line. Tough matchup. I expect this game to be tight throughout, back and forth. However, I love the value we're getting here with Auburn at plus money. Yes, Alabama's been great at home all season. However, the way these two teams match up, I love the fact that Auburn has the advantage in the paint. We'll talk a little bit more about Johni Broome as this video goes on. But I think the physicality that Auburn plays with will give the Tide some issues. Another thing in this game, Alabama is super reliant on the three-point ball. If they're off shooting, it's going to be a long night. Auburn's a tough team to beat as is, but if your shooting's off, the strength of this team's off, it's going to be tough for Alabama to overcome that. I think Bruce Pearl will have a great game plan to take away the three ball from Alabama, limit what they can do from deep. That's going to bode well for this game for Auburn. Defensively, a much better team. This is an Auburn team who ranks toward the top of the nation in terms of points allowed per game. 55 points allowed per game. One of the best teams defensively in the SEC. Alabama, 318th in points allowed per game. So major gap here between these two teams defensively. Yes, Alabama's the better offensive team, but in this kind of game, in this game script, I think it's going to come down to who can get more stops, who can force more turnovers in this tight back and forth game. That's going to be Auburn. So that's leg 1 of this. Leg 2, we're going to trust the superstar for the Tigers in Johni Broome. Now, Broome's had an outstanding year. He's been one of the best players in college basketball this season, averaging a double-double, 18.1 points per game, 10.7 rebounds. So outstanding statistics from Broome this year. We're going to trust that he comes in with a big-time performance. His over is at 19.5, but I think he matches up tremendously well. As mentioned, Alabama horrifically defensively, especially in the paint. This is a team that does not have a true rim protector. Broome's going to have his way not only on the offensive glass, but this is a guy who can step out. He can shoot the ball a little bit. He's going to get to the free throw line. Love this prop in this big-time game that he steps up. And the final leg, we're going to call on the veteran Grant Nelson, over 12.5 points. Now, as much as I love Broome offensively in this game, I think defensively, Nelson can give him some issues. Nelson's a stretch 5. He loves to shoot the ball from 3. His volume should be there. He ranks 2nd on the team in points per game, ranks 2nd on the team in minutes per game. I think Nelson holds a good advantage here. If he can knock down a couple threes early, as we know he can, he could soar over this number very early in this game in the first half. So love Nelson at 12.5. This parlay, it's going to get us to plus 524 right now on FanDuel Sportsbook. Let's lock this in and let's make some money.